All right, welcome. We'd like to call to order the Southern Valley Regional Housing Authority meeting on this Thursday, January 19th, 2023, and we'll go into our roll call. Oh, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our secretary will call roll.
Chairperson William McCurdy.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Tick Seegerbloom.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Black.
Here.
Commissioner Nancy Bruni.
Present.
Commissioner Carrie Cox. Commissioner Valerie Craig.
Present.
Commissioner Michael Disman.
Here.
Commissioner Lushana Turner.
Present.
Commissioner Carrie Cox. A quorum is present, and we are in compliance with the Nevada open meeting law.
Thank you so much. I just want to take a personal point of privilege to welcome our newest commissioners, City Councilwoman Nancy Brune, as well as Councilwoman Carrie Cox. Let's welcome them to our board, and we're looking forward to doing the work of the Housing Authority alongside you. We'll now move on to item number 2 on our agenda, which is public comment. This is a period of time where you can speak to items that are listed on the agenda. We will have a second opportunity for you to speak during the public and citizens participation part at the conclusion of the agenda if you'd like to speak to items that are not on the agenda. We will ask that you come to the mic, state your name, as well as a property that you may live in, and your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone here online who would like to speak during the public commenting period? Please come forward, state your name, the property that you're in, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Welcome.
Hi, Phyllis Carpenter, 5200 Alpine. I just wanted to know, the Parker Nelson contract, was that offered to anybody else? And I know you can't answer me, but it just seems you just keep going with the same lawyer, and I just wanted to know if it was even offered to anybody else. And then, I don't know, because this seems like last month's agenda to me, so I'm not sure. Do I do public comment now, or do I do it later?
If you want to comment further during your 3-minute period on other items on the contract, on the agenda, you can. But in relation to anything that's on the agenda, we will get to that during the course of our meeting.
Okay, so I guess, okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify during public comment at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we'll now move on to item number 3, the approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion. If there are any corrections, please list them now.
Move for approval.
We have a motion from Commissioner Black. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Seegerbloom. Is there any comment at this time? Seeing none, move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We'll now move on to item number 4, approval of the agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items or deletion of any items. Is there anything that needs to be added or deleted at this time? All right, seeing and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Seegerbloom. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Black. Is there any comments at this time? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is adopted. We'll now move on to the second section of our agenda, our business items, which is number 5, receive a report from our Executive Director on administrative and operational activities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I'd like to also echo the welcome of our new board members. Thank you all for committing to service of the Housing Authority. Just wanted to give a few brief updates. We're continuing to make progress with our the efforts at Jamestown Towers. We've started moving residents over within the building and outside of the building, and that process is going very smoothly. I also wanted to make a few comments about the Choice Neighborhood Initiative at Marble Manor. We're continuing to have meetings with both residents and the community at large, and things are going quite well. Next month, we're going to bring in the awardees for the 200 project-based vouchers that we put an RFP out on. If the board remembers, in our efforts to expand housing availability, we put on the street 200 project-based vouchers, And we have developers and management companies who went through a competitive process and will be awarded those vouchers. We thought it would be prudent to have them here in the audience with us as we celebrate again the opportunity to have 200 additional affordable housing units. This week, we're going to open up our laundry room at Marble Manor. Over the years, the residents at Marble Manor have had the opportunity to have washers and dryers in their units, but everyone just didn't have that availability. So we're going to officially kick off the opening of a laundry room at that property, and so we'll keep you abreast of that. At some point in the very near future, we're going to have a grand opening, but we thought that it would probably be better to let folks get in there and use the washer and dryer and then come back and do the grand opening. And then finally, I wanted to just thank staff and a few of our residents alike. This past Monday, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority participated in the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Parade. And it was a sight to be seen. You know, it was in the true King fashion. We were caught up in a hailstorm. We waited a few hours, but we got through it. And so I just have a couple snippets from that event that I'd like to share. One of the things that it's abundantly clear for us here at the Housing Authority. One of the things that's abundantly clear for us here at the Housing Authority is that in the work of providing housing and changing lives, we can't do it on our own. We have a tremendous amount of reliance and respect, if you will, for our community partners who do those things to help shape out or round out the lives of those we serve. You know, we pride ourselves on the housing piece, but there's obviously so much more. And I'd like to have Paula Tucker come up and introduce. So on a monthly basis for the new commissioners, we bring in guests who provide various services in the community that supports the families that live in public housing. And so Paula works in our resident services department, and she traditionally will come in and introduce our guests. So Paula, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Paula Tucker. I am the Acting Resident Program Coordinator for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. I also want to say welcome to our new commissioners. We look forward to working with you. We have two service providers that will be presenting today. First will be Mr. Andy Bichelle. He is the President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Southern Nevada. Could you come to the mic, please? Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Andy, and welcome.
Welcome, everybody. Oh, perfect. Button. All right. Thank you for having me. Boys and Girls Club, we'll start with a little history, 60-plus years of service in the Clark County community. In its iteration at this point, we're about a 7-year-old organization. The Boys and Girls Club of Henderson and the Boys and Girls Club of Vegas merged in 2015, and we moved forward from that perspective. But it's all about youth development. Everybody understands the logo, right? Everybody knows the logo. It's about knowing really what we do and the impacts that we have with our kids. So really, we work out of 3 buckets: academic success, healthy lifestyles, and good character and leadership. The first 2 feed the third, all right? So academic success is really filling in those gaps where CCSD either can't really, doesn't have that ability. So the example I use a lot is reading by 3rd grade. A CCSD teacher has to teach 2 curriculum. We don't have those handcuffs. So how do we help those kids that aren't reading at grade level to get to that level? And it is before and after school and during summer breaks. Those are the things that we really want to do. Homework help for our kids so that when they get home, that homework's done and they can really get to some family time on the backside of that. When we get to our teen programming, it's about, are you on track to graduate? If you're not, how do we help you get you there? But also, what's your plan for the future? Is it post-secondary education? Great, then we're going to take you college tours, we're going to help you fill out your applications, Pell Grant, those kind of things. If post-secondary ed isn't your path, what are the trades out there? What are the opportunities for you to take that next step? So it is a high school diploma with a plan. So that's the academic success. Healthy lifestyles, physical and emotional. So we need to provide 13 locations throughout the county, safe places for our kids to come before and after school and during breaks. But it's also about addressing some of the mental health challenges that our kids are facing. We started tackling this about 3 years ago. Started working with state DHHS to bring licensed professionals into our clubhouses to really eliminate or drastically reduce that transportation challenge. How does a working family get their kids to services on a consistent basis, right? If we bring licensed professionals into our clubhouse, it really reduces that process. We became Medicaid billing credentialed over during COVID when we were serving to be able to sustain those services. We were all ready to go, posted applications for counselors to come work in our clubhouses, and there weren't enough. So we had to shift. We are now working with UNLV to become a practicum site for licensed professionals to come in. We have the supervision to keep them moving, so we're moving them through that practicum experience a little bit quicker. Essentially to provide those services, not only for the kids in our care, but the families. How do we really get them those things that they need to deal with the anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, any of those things that our staff faced, but we didn't have the expertise to really be able to really solve those. Now we do. Again, first 2, build the third, character and leadership. It is the outcome for Boys and Girls Club modeling. And that is really who we serve. Just our demographics of the 13 clubhouses that we have. And there are always challenges, right? Transportation is one of our biggest challenges right now. How do we get the kids to the clubs? We lost CCSD bus routes during COVID, not enough bus drivers. So we are trying to get back up. We were serving 1,500 kids a day pre-COVID. We're serving about 850 right now. So working on those challenges and opportunities to get more kids to the clubhouse. Can't wait to really be a part of the Marble Manor redesign to really integrate into that community. Lastly, just real quick, not the best map, but you can see the 13 locations throughout the valley. And that is it. I think I hit my 5 minutes.
You did.
All right. Any questions that I can answer?
I have a question.
Sure.
Could you
Commissioner
share a
Brown.
little bit about, do I need to say, Nancy Bruni for the record?
No, no, you don't have to introduce. I was just acknowledging.
Oh, sorry. Sorry for not checking with you first. Could you share a little bit about the specific partnership and what it looks like? Do the kids that are in our care, have fees waived, or are you on site in some of our housing?
Right. We're not on-site, but we're adjacent to several locations. Child Care Assistance, CCA, we are billing for CCA, so income-eligible families have complete fees waived.
We have Commissioner Black and then Commissioner Cox.
Thank you. This is not a Housing Authority-related
Sure.
comment or question, but myself and Commissioner McCurdy, we sit on the Workforce Development Board as well. And so we have the 13 locations. Workforce Connections is our local workforce development board, and we're always looking for ways to co-locate and collaborate with folks that are close to the community that, and you talk about the teenagers, the
Correct.
older youth that you serve, of workplace, career-ready certificates and credentials that they can earn. If you don't have a current contact or collaboration with Workforce Connections, I think that would be a valuable conversation to have.
Absolutely, working with Irene
Okay,
Busmani
wonderful.
and Adams
That's
already.
fantastic.
So, and it's not only for our kids, it's for our staff. How are we getting them credentialed to in the education and the mental health space?
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can you tell me where you're located in Henderson?
We have the Kish Clubhouse, which is right by Basic High School on Drake Street. And then the Boyd Clubhouse is in the Pittman neighborhood. And then the Reynolds Clubhouse, it's actually interesting, our lot is actually split between half of it's in the county and half of it's in Henderson, but Robindale and Eastern. the
Okay,
roads.
awesome. And on your transportation, do you have a plan in place that can be coming online quicker? I just want to quickly say, there was a young lady, we were out pulling my signs for my election, and there was a young lady walking alone.
Yep.
And she trusted my daughter and I to give her a ride home. But she was walking 8 miles to your location, and I just was like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, this is just not good. So if I can be of help, will you please let me
Absolutely.
know? And I will see what I can do.
And we were working on a transportation item. It got held up because of insurance issues, but with the city, with the city of Henderson.
Okay,
So
please get a meeting with me.
I will.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to ask any? Commissioner Brewer.
One follow-up question. Can you elaborate a little bit on the transportation challenges that you're facing? I didn't quite understand
Yeah.
how you've lost the CCSD bus routes.
Not enough bus drivers. They stopped during COVID completely. So we were open during COVID, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., hosting on virtual school. When CCSD came back online, they didn't have enough bus drivers, so we lost all of our routes. It was significant. We're trying to work with them to see if we can get those things back, but at this time they don't have them.
Follow up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So CCSD bus drivers used to drop some of the kids at.
Correct.
Okay, because I have seen the Boys and Girls Club vans.
And those
you
we
have
have, and
both.
those we're still operating. It's just we're in 15-passenger vans, and it's not the most effective way to move 30 kids, and it also takes our staff out of our clubhouse where I really need them to be. It delays programming, all the services that we can provide if I've got my staff out running around trying to pick up kids. So just a side note, we're actually working with Toyota right now to develop, they're going to analyze all of our clubhouses, our pickup times, all those to develop a plan. But it's a little bit more of a long term, but they've agreed to support us in that fashion. But the best and most efficient, CCSD, because the kids are in school. They just need, if we can get them on buses, that's extremely helpful.
Commissioner Craig?
Hi, I just want to say I've become familiar with the boys. It first was the Boys Club.
Correct.
And so now it's evolved to the Boys and Girls Club, which I really love. I became familiar with the Boys Club in '79. My sister worked with them for years. And I'm now impressed that you're doing more educational because they were doing activities, but getting involved in the mind and getting also involved in the mental health issues that are occurring in our society. So I just want to give you a thumbs up and wish you well and great success. And I used to be a bus driver. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I used to drive the bus, and so I understand the problems involving busing, so I just wish you well and great
Yeah.
success.
Well, we're really pushing on the mental health side. It's been a long haul to get there, but again, with a partner like UNLV, I feel like we're on the right track.
Thank you so much again, Andy, and many of our members, if not already, will be serving on the RTC, which can also be a point that we can leverage to facilitate safe travel to our young people, for our young people to your facility. So again, thank you for joining us.
Perfect.
And we're looking forward to our continued partnership.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Excuse me.
Commissioner Turner, is that you?
Yes, I lost audio for me. I'm so sorry. I have a question. I don't know if I missed it, because I lost audio, but I was wondering how this works with the housing authority. If we have youth that are inside of our project-based vouchers or inside of our community, do we have some coordinated efforts that would facilitate, because we know that those are probably some of the most impoverished areas, and I would like to see them get a little bit closer to the services that boys and girls provide, and I just wanted to know, how does that work? If we have a project-based voucher system community, will they be willing to partner with us in order to pick up those children that probably are the most in need?
Absolutely. So the answer is yes. It is all about, again, I would assume most of the families in public housing would be CCA eligible for those child care assistant credits. So it's really about having the opportunity, again, transportation being a challenge, but Marble Manor, it's a walkable situation. If buses are dropping back at Marble Manor, where the Agassiz Club is right at the end of the housing, and I mean, I don't know all the locations of public housing, but it'll be interesting to see where the housing is, where our current clubs are, and quite honestly, it is about how do we, even going forward, how do we help serve those communities, right? How do we get right in the middle of housing? Because we want to be there as much as you want us to be there. But I need to make sure all 13 of those clubhouses are operating at the highest level, and hopefully we get to a wait list.
And just an additional, I represent the North Las Vegas region, so I was familiar with one that was on Webster and Cary area.
Yeah, Cary and Las Vegas Boulevard, the James Club.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that actually is still open, but because I represent that particular region, I just wanted to, emphasize that, it's not Henderson or, West Las Vegas, but it's also other regions in the valley that the Boys and Girls Club is not within reach.
I didn't quite hear all of that, but let's connect offline and I can really sit down with you and work through our current locations and what transportation options there are to get kids in your district to the clubs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Andy, and we look forward to working with the RTC to make sure that where your locations are, we can have bus lines near there as well.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to say to Commissioner Turner's point, Andy, we can work to help identify those individuals who are receiving our subsidies who are not in the traditional public housing locations, and looking at where your locations are in proximity to where our families are, and we can do a more of an affirmative marketing strategy to make sure that that happens. So, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, our next service provider that will be presenting today is Ms. Kelly Maxwell. She is the Executive Director of Baby's Bounty.
Thank you. Much higher, I'm so tall. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Kelly Maxwell. I'm the Executive Director of Baby's Bounty. I also want to note that I'm a native Las Vegan, and it's been the honor of my lifetime to lead this organization, especially through COVID, which has been incredibly challenging. We've increased our clients served by 2,900% in 3 years. So I thank you, Mr. Jordan, for acknowledging that the nonprofits here have been doing the heavy lifting and filling those gaps where government wasn't able to be as nimble as some of these smaller organizations have been. So Baby's Bounty is a 14-year-old nonprofit working in Southern Nevada to improve health outcomes for families living with small children. It was launched by Kim Amato, our founder, who was the executive director of the Nevada Homeless Alliance at the time. She would put on these homeless resource fairs at Cashman Center and would recognize that the most requested items were always infant supplies, newborn supplies. She started calling around, seeing if there were any organizations that offered newborn supplies, and there were not. So she took $500 of her own money and launched Baby's Bounty in her garage. She created these baby emergency packs, which have now developed into a baby shower in a bag, which is we provide all of the items needed to care for a newborn for the first 6 months of life. So this is a portable crib, a car seat, 25 items of clothing, bibs, rattles, baby books, feeding supplies, everything you need to care for a newborn, as well as critical newborn education. And that's required of all of our clients. We've distributed 9,000 of those since our inception. But when things really started going was with the initial COVID shutdown. So folks were hoarding diapers the same way they were hoarding toilet paper. So they started calling our office. We know you only provide this bundle one time, but we can't find diapers anywhere. Do you have some? And we did. So we started distributing diapers. When word got out that we had diapers, we were inundated. So I started calling around, thinking that a state of this size surely had diaper banks. And to our surprise, there wasn't one consistent diaper resource in the state of Nevada. So we reached out to one of our corporate partners, Anthem Medicaid, and said, listen, I think we could really help a lot of folks if we could launch a diaper bank. And they said, here's $10,000, go get it. So we launched a diaper bank in the parking lot of Valley High School. We served 83 families that week. We've since launched in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and in Henderson. We just distributed our 2 millionth diaper to over 30,000 of Southern Nevada's tiniest residents. We also launched a mobile diaper bank to solve the transportation barrier for folks living in rural Clark County. We continue to distribute diapers to all clients in need. I think diapers are it's a critical component of poverty that is often overlooked. When we look at poverty, we often think about housing, we think about transportation, internet connectivity, utilities, but what people forget is that there's no federal safety net for diapers. You cannot purchase them on SNAP benefits. They are considered a luxury item. They're preventative health care supplies. They're also a critical component of our economy. If parents don't have the diapers to send their children to daycare, they can't get back on that path to self-sufficiency and go back to work. Even free and subsidized daycares don't always have diapers. So we're there to provide, to fill that diaper gap, so folks, if their jobs are waiting for them, they can get back to work. So we are working on that. Also, Lieutenant Governor Lisa Cano Burkhead, who came with me today, is working with Baby's Bounty now as a consultant. We're very excited to have her. We're working on a Diapers for Diplomas project together, where we're trying to eliminate barriers for our parenting students, eliminate the barrier to higher education. So we're going to provide 200 diaper scholarships starting in the fall semester, where we'll cover the cost of diapers. We'll actually provide them with physical diapers for their entire year of school. And they can apply every year as needed. We're also looking to, this is very exciting, we're looking to to have a building and a family resource center. So we hope to have that announcement coming soon. But we're continuing to expand to find ways to serve our community and our young families. So thank you for the time. Any questions?
Thank you so much. I would also like to see end on taxes on diapers. That would be great if we can get that going.
We started it today. We're trying to get that on this coming
There it
legislators.
is.
So, yeah.
Commissioner Craig, and I think Commissioner Black and Commissioner Broom.
So who you want to go first? Okay, I want to say kudos. I want to say kudos. I really appreciate that. I was raised during the era with just cloth diapers.
Sure.
But now we're raised in the era where they're using Pampers.
Sure.
And my question is there a numerical limitation to the number of, and I really mean that seriously, to the individuals to give diapers? You may say, okay, you're only limited to like maybe 100.
No. So our goal at Baby's Bounty is to find ways to say yes and not no. We're serving between 500 and 600 families at each of our recurring diaper banks. So folks can come to all of them. They can come to one each week if they need those diapers. We're providing a week's supply of diapers and wipes for each child in the household, up to 3.
So when you say a week's supply, so not trying to be, you say, how many is it? You average it based on how many Pampers the average baby uses?
It's roughly 50 diapers and 2 packs of wipes at each diaper bank per child.
Okay, and is there a financial requirement?
We ask that they register and that they self-attest that they're within 130% of the federal poverty guidelines. But with that quantity of folks coming, we can't verify income. We do for our bundle program, that's about 100 a month. But with 500 to 600 clients at each diaper bank, we can't qualify them financially. But we assume that if they're coming to us, waiting an hour in line for diapers, they indeed need diapers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Broom?
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One is, did you receive ARP funds to support the expansion of
We
the
did.
diaper banks?
We did. So in partnership with the City of Henderson, we had the initial CARES funds. And then after funding the City of North Las Vegas Diaper Bank for 2 years on our own, we did just receive a $300,000 grant to continue that over 2 years.
Great.
Yeah.
And I was also going to ask whether there was a tax on diapers still. So happy to hear that you're looking at legislation and happy to support
There is.
that.
We're going to try to slide in on this session, so. Yeah.
Diapers, feminine products.
Yes.
The necessities.
Yes.
Commissioner Black?
I just wanted to say, for the record, how great of a partner you've been to the city of North Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Of the 2 million diapers, a large number of those have been distributed through your efforts in our city from
Absolutely.
City Hall at the diaper
Yeah.
banks that you've had. And I'm glad that your organization was one of the applicants that was awarded funds during our Citizens Advisory Committee effort to fund excellent nonprofit organizations. So thank you for your efforts in North Las Vegas.
Yes, thank you. The City of North Las Vegas has been an amazing partner of ours. As a matter of fact, all the municipalities, we strategically placed them so that we would, try to bring those diapers closer to the clients who need them. And so all the municipalities have loved having us there and love the service. So we're grateful for the partnerships. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox?
I was just going to ask, you're in Henderson, right?
We are.
Because I've heard your name.
Yes, we were at the Valley View Rec Center. Now, February 1st, moving forward, we'll be at the Heritage Park location. So
Well, that's awesome. I do find it very odd that diapers are considered a luxury item.
they're very luxurious.
As a mother of 7 children, I will tell you right now, they are not a luxury item.
No.
But I wanted to thank you because I know what this is like, and you are in very good hands with Lisa Cano Burkhead. She is dear to my heart,
We
and
sure are.
I'm just anything you need, please call my office, and I'm here to support you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Broom?
One more question. The diapers for diplomas?
Yes.
Really excited about that.
Yes.
How will you be rolling that out? Will you be targeting Title I schools or certain high schools or just anyone who needs it?
So right now, we have partnerships with Nevada State College and UNLV. We're working together to partner with CSN, Truckee Mountain Community. Well, I'm sorry, I did forget that we're launching in Reno in March. So we do have a grant to launch in Washoe County. So we'll have a location there. So we will be able to also provide these diaper scholarships to UNR students and Truckee Meadows Community College as well. So we're starting with 5 of the Nevada higher ed institutions. So we're working with the financial aid departments there,
counselors, so that they know when they have parenting students come in that need these challenges, that this is about a $1,200 benefit to them, but because we purchase diapers by the truckload, we can provide this benefit at a greatly reduced cost. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we
Thank you for
appreciate the
having
work
me.
that you do for our
Thank you.
community.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. We'll now move on to item, Section 3, which is our consent agenda item number 6, which is the approval and the request to write off outstanding tenant accounts, receivable and vacated accounts for the period ending November 30th, 2022. And also, please let the record reflect that Commissioner Cox is present.
And she was here. She just was trying to figure out how to get into the meeting. Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a proper motion and a second. Is there any questions, either in person or online? Hearing and seeing. Commissioner Craig.
I have a question. Has there been studies for the reasons why, it seems that we're writing off these tenant accounts? And the reason why I'm saying that, I understand that I've been told that oftentimes when you write them off, then it goes to the credit bureau. But my question is, and I understand that there have been some residents who complained about rent cafe and different things that are going on. And I just wonder, I understand COVID might be a major factor in it. But have there been studies why this is happening?
I'm sorry, what is your question?
Having to write off those TARs. Have there been studies?
These charges are for vacant tenants are no longer in the units.
I understand that.
So,
I understand
The
that.
question is, are you reporting it to credit bureaus that you're writing this off?
No, it's more than that.
Okay,
Have
but that's
there been-
one question.
Oh, yeah, that's the other one.
I'd like to know that answer.
Okay.
any accounts that's written off and is approved by the board is taken to the credit union to be written off. And then they do go back and try to get those funds from the applicants, tenants.
And my question is, I read recently that because of COVID, there's some individuals who did not pay rent, who could afford to pay rent, and I understand that. My question is, have there ever been any studies as to why, because a lot of people are poor, and I would just think generally if you're poor, you want to stay and pay your rent. So I'm just wondering, have there been any studies discovering why, individuals say why they're not paying the rent? Has it been because of management? Has it been because of rent cafe? Just other variables are coming into play to make them, not be willing to stay somewhere, particularly when we pay rent according to our income generally. That's my question.
Well, some of the write-offs deal directly with mostly maintenance charges that's been assessed to the unit once the tenants have been vacated based on damages. Some of those are representation of rent not being paid as well. Finance haven't done a study in terms of who's been written off or why, but to answer your question, but they are generally dealing with maintenance charges and rent is not being paid.
Would it be helpful for staff to provide a breakdown of what those charges are?
So, yeah, I would request that, moving forward, we'll at least have a document so that we can have a better understanding as the types of charges that we are writing off.
And we have that backup, which we can supply.
We can make that available.
And we just put it into our briefing document. I think
Yes.
that will suffice.
Duly noted.
All right, we have a motion and second on the floor. Is there another question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is adopted. We'll now move on to Section 4, the acknowledgement of our departed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since our last gathering, we've lost the following individuals who resided here at the Housing Authority. Santos Carpentieri, R.C. Crane, Norman Gatlin, Marco Gudinez, Richard Graves, Tamika Hopkins, Lawrence James, Marcella Mankinson, John Mergel, Harry Ringer Jr., David Thompson, Ricky Tyler, Guillermo Urbano, and Hugo Oriquila. Let's have a moment of silence for the departed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. We'll now move on to Section 5, item number 8, approval, and we'll call up our human resources person, June, to come up and speak to the approval of compensation policy and update for the workplace guide, employee workplace guide.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome our new commissioners aboard. Thank you. For the record, my name is June Fleming. I'm the Human Resources Manager for the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. What I wanted to do as far as updating the compensation policy, what has happened is salary reclassification is a salary adjustment based on market. It's not a promotion, it's not a demotion, it is an adjustment. So in line with the contract, which details how you make the appropriate adjustments in case of a reclassification, we wanted to make this guide more in line with what the contract is saying. Any changes or any updates or whatever it is, if there's a change or difference in the contract or versus the guide, what will happen is the contract will prevail as far as us following what the items is as far as reclassification. What I'm wanting to do is just go ahead and make the minor adjustment to the compensation plan at this particular time. Are there any questions?
Commissioner Cox.
I apologize. I just need more information on what that minor adjustment looks like.
Okay, what it is the adjustment is more like we're stating that it is an adjustment, and how you go about adjusting a salary. It is not, when we created the guide, what we did say was it's a promotion. It's not necessarily a promotion. What ended up happening in, as far as past practice, Commissioner, is we, as the Housing Authority, said this is an adjustment. There's not movement on a range. In the event that, you fall into the higher classification, you get an opportunity to grow more. You have an opportunity to get paid more in the future. And so therefore, specific guidelines in the contract tell you what you have to do as far as adjusting salaries.
Yep, I always support that, so yes.
And June, this is language change, correct?
This is language
Simply
change.
language change,
And it's-
so that there's consistency.
That is correct.
Thank you for that, June. Commissioner Black? Go ahead.
I'd like to move to approve this item.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Craig.
Excuse me?
Commissioner Turner.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No worries, we just can't see you.
Yeah, here I am. You see me now?
No, just go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I see that at the bottom, right, that it says the salary increase are performance-based and link employee compensation to performance, correct?
Yes.
So basically, employee pay is differentiated by performance. And actually, I want to kind of get an idea, a better example, as maybe you can use maybe an intake worker. What is their classification? What are they making? What type of performance do they have to perform in order to get this salary increase?
Okay, and there's two types of changes or adjustments to people's salary. One is through a reclassification action where you're adjusting the person's salary toward market value. So the job, so let's say a job as a janitor, market value, I'm just using an example, is $11 an hour. The person's making 10. What you're doing is you will have to, of course, make an adjustment because you're not going to be able to pay somebody lesser than what that job is worth. That's a reclassification. The promotion is the housing authority or any agency or entity determines based on a performance review or evaluation of people's performance. This is what it's going to be. If you get X amount of percentage or something like that, based on a score on a performance review, it's normally annual, type of review, then you're eligible for a merit increase. The CBA, as well as the Housing Authority Guide, specifies, what the eligibility for a merit increase or whatever it is. The issue right now, we're in the process of creating a new performance management tool in order to effectively evaluate our people. So that's how Commissioner, the difference between performance-based and what you're talking about as far as market value.
Could I follow up?
Just one question. This includes all employees, correct?
People that are eligible for a merit increase would involve all employees.
Okay, thank you so much.
Vice Chair Segerlow.
So this includes union employees, SEIU employees?
Everybody, all employees are eligible for a merit increase.
I know, but with the language change you're proposing, does it cover union employees?
Union employees are covered under the CBA collective bargaining agreement, where it specifies in Article 32 how you go about reclassifying a person in the union.
Okay, so this language is not going to affect the union employees?
No, sir, it is not.
Okay, but are they negotiating this issue for their contract?
They will be, the contract right now for 2021 through 2024 is sealed. However, it could be up to negotiation right now. And the other part of it is the portion of pay. What we're saying right now is how people are paid, where they're going to be placed as far as what on a salary schedule. That is what is up for negotiation right now.
Okay, but just to make clear, this language does not impact
No.
the contract or union employees right now?
Right now, it will not.
All right, thank you.
So, excuse me. So in order for us to have a productive meeting, I'm going to ask that the only comments that are made are ones that are, brought forward by the chair. There will be an opportunity to speak during public comment, but in order for us to facilitate a successful meeting, we have to make sure that we're not talking over one another, but everyone who wishes to speak will have an opportunity to speak during the second portion of public comment. And I'd love to see the purple. Commissioner Cox.
Thank you. I hope this is proper. We do this in Henderson, so if it's not, I apologize. Who supports this change, just by a raise of hand? Thank you.
All right. We have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I oppose it based on what I know so far.
I oppose it.
All right. Excuse me? Commissioner Turner? Are you yay or nay?
Yes, I would like to support it.
Okay, motion is adopted. We'll now move on to item number 7. No, excuse me, item number 9, approval of the procurement contract for Ring Central.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Johnny Shaw, Procurement and Contracts Manager. The background, Patterson and Associates, which is our IT consultant, recommended to replace its current phone system due to the current system being obsolete and does not provide customer service and mobility options that would support a mobile and agile workforce. These limitations became even more apparent during the pandemic. SNRHA staff and our customer service call center and public-facing departments all need the additional features available in a more modern phone and unified communication solution. Ring Central will incorporate integrations with desktop computers, Microsoft Teams, as well as the ability for the desktop phones to follow staff on their mobile devices when they're also working remotely and on the go. The Ring Central solution was a choice of SNRHA's IT in harmony with our cloud-first strategy. Ring Central also offered SNRHA an additional end-of-year incentive, which we saved an additional $36,000 dollars
Yes.
with this software. Action requested. Executive Director is requesting that the Board of Directors, or Board of Commissioners, review and approve contract C23024, Ring Central Incorporated, in the amount of $461,172. If you have any IT questions, Mr. Tommy Albert from our IT department can respond to those questions.
And Commissioners, before Tommy speaks, I just wanted to say for the record, when we look at the overall challenges that we have here at the Housing Authority, clearly at the top is our ability to offer a very strong and reliable customer delivery via our telephones. If I have to list the type of complaints I get more than anything else, it's the availability of staff on the phone, returning phone calls, and a lot of that is attributed to a phone system that just isn't as modern as it should be. So I wanted to make that known for the record.
And I also like to add that our IT consultant, Mr. Patterson, is on the phone for any questions. I also want to note that this replaces CenturyLink, and the CenturyLink contract is roughly about $100,000 a year that we're paying. So that service will go away once Ring Central is implemented.
Are there any questions?
Go on. No,
Commissioner Craig. Commissioner
Okay.
Craig.
Hi, I am glad to see that we're going to have something to improve the system that we have, but I have quite a few questions. And so I also looked at the back and I saw the consumer rating. I understand the Better Business Bureau, approved them, but my understanding is in the Better Business Bureau is a lot of businessmen. But then I also looked at the evaluation by the consumers, and out of 127 individuals who responded, their score was 1 point some. And so my question is, I really think it's really crucial and important because we sort of had, let me just say, more than dinosaur type of system. I think that we all would like to know what were some of the complaints. Whenever I get something from Amazon or somewhere else, I look at the complaints. I like to know, what were the complaints, before we validate, Ring Central. That's the first question. Back here in the back, I was reading about them in the back. I understand that, it's on, I had customer complaints. It says customer reviews, and it has the Better Business Bureau. They gave them an A+ rating. It says when it was accredited, and I understand that. But then I also paid attention to the customer reviews. An average of 127 customer reviews, it got a 1.06/5. And it's crucial to us because we have something that's worse than a dinosaur communication system. And I would like to know before I approve it, what were some of the complaints? And as I stated, the Better Business Bureau, there are a lot of businessmen, and pretty much they sort of take care of each other. But because, customers are the ones that motivate and move it, I would like to know, first of all, what were some of the complaints? That's the first thing.
I believe our Ring Central representative is
Brian is
online.
on.
Are you there, Brian?
Either Brian or Craig, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, I would. Hi, Commissioners. This is Craig Patterson, Patterson and Associates Consulting. We were there last month. We couldn't make it there physically.
I remember.
But when we looked at Ring Central, we looked at the complaints also. We also surveyed the size of the customer. Ring Central has customers that are very small at times also, and the technical capacity of the customer oftentimes was the determining factor on the satisfaction of the implementation and the tools used. There's several different levels of Ring Central being used, and we have Brian Witkorski, who is on the line with us too. But from our research and our experience with 4 other housing authorities that are using Ring Central, it's been very good. The integration and the customer service and the high levels of flexibility that the tool has with the version that we're getting, and also the call monitoring are at a level where the customer satisfaction has been high. I didn't research every one of the individual concerns or complaints, but I know that among their smaller customer class, like businesses like mine, where we've used Ring Central and we only had 10 employees, if you don't implement it correctly or get it set up and configured, then that was one of the sources of the complaints. I just wanted to speak to that. That helps.
And then my next question is that I also read that once we get Ring System, here's one thing I like about it. It said that it would be, we had a lot of work orders that were not completed for various reasons, and I'm assuming it's probably because of the IT. I'm assuming that. And it stated that they would give us work orders, and that individuals, once they did a work order, they could either they get email response about their implementation, about their work order, and the other one was text. And my question is that there are quite a few individuals who are senior citizens, even some of the young individuals who don't have cell phones. And maybe they may be getting a work order. But what about those people who are not tech savvy? Are they going to fall through the cracks? And the other thing is, even if they're not tech savvy, will you all truly implement a strategy that will utilize the education of individuals who are using it? And also, can they be tech savvy? And the reason why I asked, the office staff is not able to, they don't have the time to come and train and educate us. Will you give us someone who is specified to come and educate those of us to utilize email, particularly the senior citizens, those with arthritis and all of that?
Yes, we will. Yeah, there's a commitment that the Housing Authority has and continues to have around making sure when we're leveraging technology that we're bringing everyone aboard. It would be counterproductive for us to put in a system that doesn't allow all of our citizens and tenants to use it. And when we talk about things like use technology for a work order, that gives us an opportunity to track the work, but it doesn't totally take away from the opportunity. Say, for example, if someone in Jamestown does not have a computer and cannot use the system, it doesn't preclude that person from going and knocking on the manager's door and saying, look, either I don't have or I don't know how, can you assist me? And that type of assistance will continue to be available.
And then here's my last question. Say we approve this contract. This is just in my mind, possibly that individuals are looking at SNRHA and saying they're just a golden goose, golden duck. We just get them and we just do whatever we want to with them. This is just my think about the mindset. So my question is, will we be able to get a detailed record where someone from IT has come in and where they've gone in order to educate the individuals, and also what they're doing for that time period?
As a part of continuous education and continuous improvement, particularly with new commissioners coming on board, we're going to implement a communication strategy in this board setting that gives you a more detailed look at each department. So, for example, next month may be HCV, the following month may be operations, and just give you a real detailed understanding. That's a part of my 2023 strategy, to take one time a month to really dig deep into the operational aspects of each one of our departments, which will show you how we're leveraging technology as well as holding ourselves accountable.
So in other words, you said you're going to use maybe HCV or whatever. So maybe I'm not saying it correctly. So is it possible for us to get a month-to-month detail of what's happening with technology, month to month, with all of us, because, we all are working together?
We can work on, we can work with the chair to determine the level of paper that the board gets, or even individually. All that you're looking for is available.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Black. Commissioner Broom.
Actually, my microphone wouldn't turn on. If two are on at the same time, then the third one won't come on, so I'm good now. Thank you. So I have a comment and a question. Mr. Shaw, a few months back, we had a very comprehensive presentation by the consultant, Patterson Associates Consulting relative to our IT needs, the antiquated systems that we have, and the strategy around replacing those over a period of time so we elevate the efficiency internally, but also outward-facing, customer-facing, improving that experience as well, hence this phone system. We have a very thorough procurement process that I've become familiar with over the last 5 or 6 years on the board, and it's governed by HUD guidelines and regulations. So I'm of the opinion that when we engage in a contract like this is a 5-year duration, a large dollar amount. I'm going forward with the confidence on the consultant that we've put our focus on to help us, to guide us, to direct us, find best practices that have been done in other agencies like ours, and then you and your team to vet the vendors for the best service for the money. Having said that, if we engage in this contract, is there an opportunity, should the service be less than what we had hoped for or expected, to find a way out of that contract?
Absolutely. All of our contracts have a 30-day out clause.
Okay.
And so if there's an issue with the service, we will issue a warning to the vendor, which is a notice to cure. So we issue a notice to cure, and we give the vendor 30 days to enhance or improve their services.
Okay.
And if that cure is not satisfied by us, then we can cancel the contract.
Thank you. And so I would just end on this. Based on my past experience, I have great confidence in the procurement department, in our finance department, in our desire to bring in the best services and products for our organization. And so I'm confident with what you're bringing to us today and your staff recommendation. It's good to know that there is an opportunity to exit should we need to at a certain point during the duration of the contract.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And also, Dr. Bruin.
Thank you. I had a question similar to Commissioner Black. So I noticed that we did do an RFQ process for legal services, but I was just wondering, did we do a RFQ process for our IT vendor or for our phone system vendor? And if not, why?
So that's a good question. So this is what we call a piggyback. This original RFP was structured by the Region 4 Education Center, and we piggybacked off of their contract so that the entire RFP solicitation process was already handled through the Region 4 Education Center, which is an alliance with the co-op entities nationwide.
All right. I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Move for approval, contract number C23024.
All right, we have a motion and second by Commissioner Craig. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is adopted.
Chairman, do we hear anything from Commissioner Turner?
Commissioner Turner has left the meeting.
Okay.
She had to go back to an engagement.
Thank you so much.
We'll now move on to item number 10. Approval of contract number C23000 Parker Nelson Associates. Commissioner, Executive Director Jordan.
Thank you, Commissioner. As Mr. Shaw goes into this item, we're going to take some privilege to give historical context of the procurement process as well as the financial impact that this item has had on us in the past. So we'll probably take a little more time than normal. I just wanted to ask the board's approval to just have Mr. Shaw walk through, again, the process of procurement as well as the history in using Parker Nelson. And then as he concludes, I'm going to ask Mr. Herron to come up and talk about the whole feasibility of using outside legal versus inside legal. And there's been, in fact, we had a question earlier around the cost of the contract. Really give the board members some clear understanding of how we got there. And also wanted to say for the record that this item was on our agenda a few months ago. And at the request of our HUD regional office, they asked us to pull it so that they could, they wanted to reevaluate our procurement process in doing so. I also like to say for the record, before bringing this item back to the floor, we received a letter from our HUD regional office saying that the Housing Authority had met all requirements in procuring this particular item, and they gave us the approval to go ahead and administer the contract. Yeah.
A little bit of background and history on Parker Nelson Associates. From 1999 until the reorganization of the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, Parker Nelson Associates represented the housing authority of the city of North Las Vegas. Additionally, from 2002 through 2005, Parker Nelson Associate represented the city of Las Vegas Housing Authority. After the reorganization, Parker Nelson Associates was awarded the RFP to represent the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Parker Nelson and Associates also represents the City of Charleston Housing Authority, Charleston County Housing Authority, and they also provide litigation support for the North Charleston Housing Authority. Parker Nelson and Associates has had a legal contract with the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority since the latter part of 2010. And this procurement is, or these services are procured every 3 years through an RFP process. As Mr. Jordan stated, the item was pulled in the September meeting, and so due to guidance and advice from HUD for them to review the procurement process of securing legal services. And so we've been on the month-to-month with Parker Nelson and Associates since October 1 through December 31st. That's pretty much it as far as the background that we've had with Parker Nelson and Associates.
Well, before you go on, can you speak, and again, this is ratification of our new commissioners, can you talk about the procurement process, who we sent out the RFP to?
Yes.
How over the years, if and all, have we changed it? I think the bigger concern is the fact that we end up with the same vendor that comes before the board. And I think the board needs to understand what process we go to solicit other vendors, how far our reach is with with our solicitation and things of that nature.
So every 3 years, the RFP scope of services is revised. So we don't use the same scope of services every 3 years for the RFP process. But this particular RFP, the solicitation was put on the street May 9th, 2022. And upon the closing of the RFP, which was on June 9th, 2022, we sent this notification out to 595 firms. And of the 595 firms, only 22 firms actually reviewed and downloaded the solicitation. In addition, we advertised these services through the Review Journal, through El Mundo, through Latin American Press, Las Vegas Asian Journal, Culturally Diverse Advertising, and the Governor's Emerging Small Business Program. And it was also advertised on NGEM, Nevada Government e-Marketplace. And so as you know, the RFP process is not based on cost alone, but it's based on other factors, such as technical expertise, past experience, quality of proposed staffing, etc. And so one of HUD's concerns was we actually had 3 law firms that said they would respond, but only one responded, which was Parker Nelson and Associates. So their advice to us is to enhance our outreach for these type of services and to keep the solicitation on the street 45 to 60 days, which we have already incorporated.
Thank you.
Before Mr. Herring comes up, Dr. Broom, Commissioner Broom.
I just have one question about the structure of the contract. Again, I'm new. Is it a flat amount or a flat service fee every year, or is it based on the number of hours, so up to, and, yeah?
His contract is based on an hourly rate, and he charged by the hour.
So not to
not to exceed the contract amount, correct.
So we've been had a lot of work the last couple of years, and so what happens if, we exceed the number of hours, if it's based on a per hour?
Well,
Rate.
Well, we won't allow him to exceed the number of hours, to exceed the contract amount. If it gets close to that amount, we'll bring it back to the board for their approval. Frederick Herron, Chief Administrative Officer of the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Over the past few years, there has been a conversation about whether or not what's the benefit of bringing in-house counsel versus contracting our services out. About 6 months ago, HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development, tasked us to do an analysis by a third party to find out what it would cost to bring in in-house counsel. After receiving those analyses, the costs annually were about $775,000 per year to the maximum about $1.7 million a year to provide these services in-house. Over the past 5 years, Parker and Nelson expended approximately on the average, $261,000 annually for their services, opposed to their $365,000 contract, about 71% of the contract. I know staff here enjoy the work and appreciate the work Mr. Parker does. We work with a lot of vendors, and I can say that he doesn't, charge us for every call we receive. He's always there, to answer any questions we may have. So I'm not sure how the board feel about it, the work he's provided, but we are very satisfied.
Commissioner Black and Vice Chair Sagerbloom and Commissioner Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on my experience on the board, I joined the board in 2017 as a newly elected official, having very little, if any, knowledge about HUD or public housing. And, there's a great deal of specification and specialization in this world that we work in and serve in, public housing with HUD and the regulations. I think that by the fact that, 600 firms were solicited, 22 downloaded, the wide net that was cast relative to this, 3 firms that expressed interest, only one of which is our current one that, put their hat in the ring, or their name in the hat, so to speak, indicates to me that this is a real specialized environment. From a personal standpoint, as a board member, as a commissioner, I've had the privilege of working with Mr. Parker and his team over the last 5.5 years, and I think he understands this industry very, very thoroughly, and the specialization that goes with it. He's conducted himself, in my opinion, as a top-notch professional that gives sound advice that has, in my opinion, helped us weather several difficult circumstances. And so I just wanted to share that from my perspective over the last 5+ years.
Commissioner Sagerbloom.
So just to clarify, the bid went out, 3 people indicated, or 3 firms indicated they were interested, only 1 firm bid. HUD said then go back out again with a more specialized?
No. They didn't tell us to go back out. They just wanted to review the procurement process to make sure that we met all the regulations that.
So, Commissioner, the level of detail that was explained today had to be explained to HUD.
Okay.
And once we explained that level of detail, HUD was satisfied with the process that we took.
And again, it will go back out again in 3 years.
Commissioner Cox.
Okay, for me, this is not about HUD at all, and I do understand all about HUD, just for the record. This was more of a concern as a new commissioner, that the former commissioner, Shaw, had some concerns. And so those were brought to me. And his concerns, and I believe he asked for another RFP back in September or October to go out, and it never did. So his concern was the cost that is associated. But what I'm understanding is that, and if you correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that there's a total max that is in the contract, over $1 million, and that you bill against the max. Or do you get, okay, so Mr. Parker, can you explain that to me?
Sure. I thought Mr. Herron did a good job of explaining it, but let me try to explain it again. The not to exceed amount, and again, this is Teddy Parker for the record. Good afternoon, Commissioners. The not-to-exceed amount is for 3 years total. But typically, there's a 1-year amount that we won't exceed as well. And that's the 300,000 figure that Mr. Heron was speaking of. In my number of years I've represented SNRHA, I don't believe we've ever exceeded that amount, with the exception of once. And it's because there was a very large Department of Labor action where they were trying to assess us over $2.4 million because of a labor issue, which I don't know if Commissioner Black was here at the time. We did very well in that case, and certainly my fee was a lot less than what the fine ultimately turned out to be, which was a fraction. So with the exception of that occasion, I believe every year we've been below budget. And so we've never exceeded the 1-year amount or the 3-year amount.
May I ask what you bill per hour?
Of course, and it's public record. I believe the RFP response was $240, I believe, for my fee, which is significantly less than I charge.
Yes, it is. I'm a paralegal.
So
I got you.
So you know.
I know law. I mean, in my, I don't
Absolutely.
know law like you know law. I'm just saying I understand how it works. So, okay, so $240 an hour is not bad at all, so.
I can represent this to Mr. Sager-Bloom and to all the commissioners. There's cases where my fee is $8.50 an hour, and there's cases where my fee turns out to be a lot more than that. So I try to represent all of my public agencies, Workforce Connections, Clark County School District, the EOB, at my lowest rates, because I know how these are taxpayer dollars, and the agencies can't afford it. In fact, I don't know if Mr. Heron would remember this, but when sequestration hit, when the economy was at its lowest, I came and volunteered to reduce my rate. So I've done everything I could in the beginning and to this day to keep my rates as low as possible for my public clients. I will also say, and this is something that Mr. Shaw would know, I also try my best to always hire Section 3 employees. I've done it from the beginning when I started doing housing work in 1999, and I try to continue doing it. And I do it for my housing authorities in South Carolina, in that office as well. So my point would be, and that's a very fine question as well as yours, Dr. Barun, we are monitoring the numbers all the time. And there's no way that I would allow it, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Heron, or the executive director, Mr. Jordan, would allow me to exceed the amount. And if it came even close, we'd come before this board to make sure we didn't violate the contract or the HUD regulations. And it is a very specialized industry, I will tell you that.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better, and that's why I asked you that question, because although I am now the new commissioner and can make this vote on my own, I do feel I'm going to have to go back and talk to Councilman Shaw and tell him why I voted the way I did. So that gave me my answer that I need to take back to him. And so it is my understanding, though, that you bill billable hours against that.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you taking time with me to understand.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to thank you very much for that explanation that you just gave. That you cut some slack with the public because they don't get the right kind of funds. So I just appreciate that.
No, I appreciate it, Commissioner. I think it's a privilege to represent the agency, and that's why I've always put my RFP in play for all the agencies that provide these types of services. Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions for our commissioners? Seeing and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Black, a second by Commissioner Craig. If there is any other discussion, I will move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion is adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We'll now move on to the second portion of public comment. We ask that anyone wishing to come forward, please come now. I see President Maese coming forward, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Michelle Mayese. I'm the president of SEIU Local 1107 here in Nevada. We represent 19,000 workers, including the Department of Aviation, Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, which we're here to talk about today. Good afternoon, commissioners. McCurdy and Co-Chair Sager Bloom, and all the new commissioners. Thank you so much for having us. We just wanted to provide you an update of what's been going on in the bargaining contract negotiations that we have right now, and I'm going to ask that Jason Clem come up and give you a brief update of what's happening. And I will say, for the record, most of the workers that were here today are from the Housing Authority. They had to go back to work because they provide a great service to our community. And the other workers that we have are from Clark County, as well as the Regional Transportation Commission. We have our UMC brothers and sisters, and then we have some Nevada partners, our partners with SEIU Nevada Now. We had asked me out here on the picket line with us, so I just want to recognize them as well.
All right, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jason Klum. I'm the Representation Director for SEIU 1107, and I've been at the bargaining table with our team. We've been bargaining for the last several months, and I would say overall we've had good discussions. It's about where those discussions go. And so for the most part, we are good on job descriptions, and we are good on a wage scale. But here's where the problems lie now. First, it is in how our members are placed onto that wage scale. So what the organization, what the Housing Authority has proposed is that it go from your dollar amount that you're currently at to the same or close dollar amount on the new scale. So it completely ignores the market study benefits. Because the market study benefits, we want, and what we believe should be done, is recognizing length of service and experience. So if we have a member who is step 5 and has worked over time to reach that step has value. And to now say that you're a step 5 person, but on the new scale you're going to be step 3 and not receive the same benefits on the new scale denies the marketability adjustment. That's the first issue, is that there needs to be step-to-step placement, not dollar to dollar, because this is a market study. The next issue is a systemic issue that has been ongoing with the Housing Authority. And that is that because of the recognition that our wage scales were not at market, it has been difficult to hire people at the first step. And so what has happened is new hires have come in at higher steps on the scale, while our members, who have been longtime employees, were frozen on their steps for several years. And so we have people who are coming into the organization with similar or less experience, being paid at a higher dollar amount than our members who have been here providing services to our community and doing the work necessary to get the job done in hard times, in good times, and making sure that everyone's taken care of. Those are the two big issues that are outstanding. Step placement and figuring out how we solve the problem with new hires and recognizing that experience, that we bring people up to the level that they should be at and be appreciated. With that, I'd like to introduce our executive board member, Alicia Smith, who is also works here at the Housing Authority and can talk more about her and our members' experience. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, and welcome.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Alicia Smith. As he said, I'm an HQS inspector here at the Housing Authority. I've been working here for 4 years. Interesting enough, I took a pay cut to come here. When I took a pay cut to come here, I've been in social services for 20 years. I had a degree, I had 3 to 5 years experience, I was already certified as an inspector, and yet I started at step 1 and took a pay cut. I've been here 4 years and I'm still at step 1. When I came here, I was given a package that said, these are our steps. We are actually the oddball because our fellow people like Clark County, City of North Las Vegas, City of Las Vegas, Henderson, they automatically go up on steps with merits. It wasn't until I had been here for a year that I realized, hey, where's my evaluation? The last time I was evaluated was at my 120-day probation. In 4 years, I have not received an evaluation because I was told, well, there's no merit increase, so it doesn't matter. There's a disconnect here. There's a disconnect from what's being reported to you at this level than what's actually happening there on the field. And that's what I asked you all to take a step and look back. Jason did a great job at explaining how they have violated their own HR policy by bringing people in at a higher wage with those of comparable experience or more experience, and that are still at a lower wage. That's HR policy. I will get you the exact numbers if the board member wishes it. But they've already violated their own policy, and yet we refuse to account for that. So I'm here with my brothers and sisters who work here, who come to work, who came to work during COVID, who came to work at risk to our own family. When we tried to work distance, we were told, no way, get here now, this is your job. As an inspector, I went out through all of COVID. I was in everyone's home, we were masked up, we had to fight to get the mask, fight to get the stuff, but I was here. We furloughed in 2014, but we're funded fully. We froze our merits from 2015 to 2021. We have sacrificed for SNRHA. When do we get taken care of? Part of our customer service issue is retention. We have people who are being hired at a higher wage who come in and say, you all do too much for what you're getting paid. And they're being hired higher wage than we are. Where's the reality check? Thank you. Go ahead. No. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to introduce Grace. Grace Fakar, our SEIU Executive Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and to all our members here. My name is Grace Vergara-Mactal. I'm the Executive Director of SEIU Local 1107. We are here with our members of SNRHA asking the board to hear us. Here are members that serve this community. Here are members that during pandemic, like Alicia says, work tirelessly to make sure that our community is taken care of. But what the experience that we're hearing from our members is they cannot take care of their family. All we want is to have an equal pay for everyone, and that's what we're asking. We're asking for the board to help us because, as Jason says, we are in bargaining for several months, and we want results. We don't want to drag the process. We don't want to drag the bargaining. So on behalf of our members in SNRHA and on behalf of 19,000 members that we have in Nevada, we are asking the board to please help us and hear our members because they need help. We have members that are qualified to be in Section 8, and they are the same people that are taking care of our community. Think about that. We need to change it, and I'm hoping that the board and the management of Housing Authority will do right by our members. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Anyone else? Hold on one second.
Phyllis Carpenter, 5200 Alpine. I would just want to say, 2 months ago, I came in and I let my emotions get the best of me. I really did. But to go outside and have 6 security officers surround me was BS. So there's leaks. I've mentioned it, I don't know how many times, there's leaks at our property. And they come and they don't fix them. They're watering 2 or 3 times a day, and there's leaks, and every time I come home, I see the water running right through the middle of the property. And then they go and they shut it off. That's their fix. A couple months later, they'll turn it back on. In 2020 annual plan, there was an allotment for $200,000 to fix the elevators at Sartini. That still hasn't been done, but yet I seen it like a couple months ago on the agenda where you guys approved another $200,000. I don't get that. Mr. Jordan, 2 months ago when I went to pre-board, you said that Section 3 was only for construction. That is not true. When I worked for hand construction, we had to go through a day labor place. We was only paid $9 an hour because they didn't want to pay the insurance for us to work directly underneath them. Section 3 is supposed to be, you're supposed to uplift us. You're not supposed to have us $9 an hour. That just was, we was just getting by with that, you know? And even when I worked at Beager, their LLC they formed, I only made $11 an hour. And that didn't lift me up, especially when they terminated me because I questioned it. It's not fair. I also asked at pre-board for the bylaws of the Housing Authority, never received them. I also, Mr. McCurdy, you said that somebody would get back to me. It's been 2 months, nobody's gotten back to me. Not even a phone call, any acknowledgement, nothing. Thank you. And you know what? I really like you too because you ask questions. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you and welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to, I'm Jerry Burton. I'm the co-executive director of National Organization for Women, the Nevada chapter. And I'm here in support of SEIU and the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority workers. And, you know, we stand for equal pay. We're here asking for equal pay for the current workers in comparison to what people who are being hired. And we're hearing stories of these workers, you know, being paid so little that they can't afford their own housing. So I'm here in support, and it's good to see some of the new commissioners and to see the commissioners this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in public comment? Welcome.
You have to excuse me, this is my first board meeting. I've never been to one before. So. My name is Holly Harris, Harris. I live on the Juan Garcia Apartments. I've been taking advantage of the RAD housing program, so I'd like to say thank you guys for making that possible for me and my family to have somewhere to live. Because I lived with my mom for the longest with my 3 kids, and then my other son comes, so now I have 4. And so I just couldn't afford to live at the market rate. So I live at this property. And I'm frustrated because I feel like I'm unheard. I feel like I am dismissed because I moved into my unit. I didn't have anywhere else to go, and I had already turned the lights on. So my management allowed us to move in. But they were saying that the unit is ready for you guys to move in. Well, it's not ready, but there's still a few things that we need to do, which was understandable because you would come back and you would do those things. Nothing ever got done. Me and my mom clean apartments. Well, my mom used to clean apartments, so I know how it goes when you go in. You have to clean certain things. There's like roach residue from like years where like if you have, you know, your body sheds skin. Like there's literally skin cells and roach debris from other people just not cleaning. And you cannot like, at the top of our cabinets, you can't even wipe it off. You have to like pour straight bleach on it for it to come off. I have pictures, I've complained, I let them know. And not only that, but I have a concern for mold in my apartment that is black, and that they came in and decided, well, hey, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna rip the bottom of just that one area out, but there's still mold on the back end of it. They covered it up, and then they come and they paint over the brown spots just so that, you know, there, it's fixed. Oh, it's a special chemical that we put on it. No, it's not, it's paint. My son is asthmatic, he is 1 year old. My son is constantly having like runny nose and everything, and it hasn't started until we go into that apartment. So I was just wanting to it's not just me. There are statements that I had. There were individuals that couldn't come today who I said that I would make sure that I presented it to you guys, because it's not just me, it's other units. They're treated like, just because we're low income, that we don't care about our property, that we don't care about our neighborhood, that we just want to be nasty. No, this unit was given to me like this, and it's like passed down. They're passed down, and nobody's doing anything about it. And I would like to see, from the way that you guys talk here, I see that you guys have a concern for the community, and I implore you, look into these properties, look into the way the management is treating them, because they come in there as if like this is just a job for them. They don't care about the people, they just care about checking the box right now. And that's why I'm here today, because I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. So I don't know if
I would ask
could
that you
leave
give
this.
that information to Director Jordan. I would also ask that you hang behind and make sure that we have something set up to where we can come visit your property.
Yes, sir.
Director
Thank
Jordan?
you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And ma'am, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. I just want the record to show that this is a property that's co-owned by the Housing Authority and I think it's Frank Hawkins? CDPDN. And so this is not a property that's managed by us, but we will definitely look into it to see what's going on. Yeah.
Well, I'm sad that the lady that was here prior left. So I hope we have her information. She spoke. And please reach out to her and let me know if there's something I can do to help.
Absolutely.
And then, yes, I'd like to come, when they come, I'd like to be scheduled to come and see her apartment and see what we can do. I have a child that has asthma. She's now an adult, and I was a single mother, and my heart goes out to her. So please, let's get that taken care of. And if I may say one last thing, it takes a lot of courage to come to a meeting and to stand in the back and hold signs. And so thank you for being here today. I appreciate all that you do and that you hang in when it's hard. So hopefully we can get something done. I'd like to look into it and see what there is and what I have to follow to help. And I know that the commissioners, I don't even know them well, but I know they have good hearts because they're sitting here today. And I appreciate you coming and speaking. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hey, Brent.
How you doing? Brent Miller, I'm Chief Steward for Clark County. I'm a Clark County employee as well for 16 years. One thing that I notice is that it's a common theme because I do the new employee orientations as well at the county. Everybody's excited to start as a county worker or to work for the government, but it's sort of like the outside looking in effect. Once you get in, you start to see that there's a common theme, that we don't take care of our employees. And that goes for the county, and it seems like it's going here as well. We need to start taking care of our employees. That should be the priority. When I listen to the other speakers come up here and they talk about the problems that are happening in their housing, that could be an employee issue too. If we were taking care of our employees and they're happy to come and serve the community like they started to when they filled out that application like I did, we wouldn't have so many of these issues. Start paying your employees. Take care of your employees because that's where it starts. That's the priority. I sat here and I listened to other items on the agenda get a lot more attention than your employees. The priority should be the employees, and I'm sure probably going to have this conversation again with the county. We shouldn't have these conversations. We should be taking care of our employees because that's where it starts. It starts there, 100% of the time. So thank you to all the employees, and thank you for having us.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in public comment at this time? Hearing and seeing no one else, this meeting is adjourned. Oh, well, you know I didn't forget you. Come on. I'm saying no, I'm not.
All right. My name is Vanessa Hamlin. I'm a resident at Jamestown Towers. I just have a few concerns. No major complaints, just a few concerns. And one of the things is I've heard several people from different properties complain about the rent cafe system. And there have been some people who have said they were charged late fees. Some even said they received eviction notices because for some reason their money was in the bank, but it wasn't taken out, and due to no fault of their own. And then they wind, and you may have been one of them too. Some of them wound up getting eviction notices, late fees. I'm not one of those, but I don't want to see fellow residents at our property or any of the properties being charged late fees and receiving eviction notices for something that's not their own. I received my share of eviction notices, which of course I'm going to challenge Housing Authority on it for some of those that I received earlier this year, unjustifiably. But there are some issues with Red Cafe that I think need to be looked into. an issue we have had at our property, possibly at other properties, pest control and other vendors with master keys. I understand employees, maintenance having master keys. I don't think it's fair or good for our safety when these pest control guys or vendors that housing works with have master keys and access to go into units. I'd like to see that cease immediately. And then as far as the RAT, we're in this conversion thing. And one of the things that was said at the last meeting was that the salon, yeah, I'm pointing at you, Mr. Stafford, that the salon is going to be next to the kitchen. And I thought about this, and it really bothers me, because hair and food don't mix. To me, that's a health issue. And I didn't know if I'd get a chance to say something at the next RAD meeting or before y'all start construction. So I wanted to bring it to your attention today, to reconsider the placement of the salon. I just don't think it should be connected to the kitchen. And those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Wadeen Patton, Jamestown Towers. I'm on the no, Lord have mercy. I'm in the phase one moving. Okay. Now, they said they wanted to help. I don't want people touching my stuff. I'll pack my own stuff. I might be 74 years old, but I can get around and do things. But my concern is, I feel like I'm being rushed. You know, the apartment is awful small. I've got 12 boxes stacked. I've got a dining room table in there, a couch, a reclining chair, a TV. I can barely see my TV, and I'm not going to be pushed into my bedroom to watch my TV. I'm not going to do that. Then I also have a question. When we got these 30-day notices, they were sent out, they were taped to the door and sent by mail. Does that go into our file? Because it said an eviction after 30 days. Is that going into our file? Because it's for the RAD conversion. Can you answer that, Mr. Jordan?
We don't go back and forth during public comment, but what I will say is that if you just hang tight, once we conclude the meeting, someone will come and speak.
Okay. Now I have another concern. There are 4 handicap parking almost in the front of Jamestown. There's a couple there. They have 2 cars. They have parked a new car in the very first one. But when they get ready to leave, they bring up the other car so nobody else can park there. Now, we have a handicap. We have people that can barely walk. They have to walk way back. I think that they say they can't do anything about it. But the one that parked there have Texas plates. They've been there over 3 months. Nevada states that you have to have your plates turned in to Nevada plates after 30 days and living here. They've been here way more than 30 days with Texas plates. The security, and I want to know, security come by, they don't see it or they don't ignore it. All they do is come take pictures and leave. But I say somebody should be able to do something about it, because if it's the Nevada law, then why can't they be told or tag their car? And then sometimes they take up 2 handicaps because both of them have handicaps. So he's parked in one handicap spot, she's parked in the very first one. No one can park there, ever. And I don't think it's fair. You got people that can barely walk, and they have to walk way around to get to the front door of Jamestown. Some are on walkers. One lady is bent over, looking down, can't hardly see. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else wishing? Please come forward. Thank you. And welcome.
My name is Shanita Tunstall. I work in the HCV department. I'm a single mother. I have 2 kids and I adopted a 3rd. I'm sorry. My rent is more than my check, but we survive. We survive. because all 3 of my teenage sons have had to get jobs to help me. And I came here to do the job that I love to do. I've been doing housing for 13 years. I came to Las Vegas to be with my senior parents who want to move out here and have a better life. And I wanted a better life for my children. But it's been a struggle. Please, please, please help the workers. We work really hard and we care about our clients. And we want to see our clients do well, but we have to want to do well too for ourselves. So how can we help our clients when we are struggling ourselves? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your strength. All right, if there's no one else wishing to come forward during this public comment period, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for joining us. Come back anytime.